Hi everyone, this is Sharon Case, the Director of Humanities in the Office of Teaching and Learning here at Louisiana's Department of Education. Today's webinar is going to be a deep dive into the English Language Arts approach and the suite of resources available as part of the department's statewide tutoring strategy, Accelerate. You can find guidance, general guidance, including a recording of the kickoff webinar on the Accelerate landing page. Accelerate is the department's equal access just-in-time tutoring strategy. This model is dependent on identifying, celebrating, and building upon the assets students bring to the learning experience. Capitalizing on student assets allows educators to address unfinished learning in an equitable way by ensuring every student engages in grade-level content rather than delaying grade-appropriate English language arts experience through disconnected work that is better suited at earlier grades. Acceleration in ELA means strategically ensuring that students are able to access grade-level text by building student knowledge, vocabulary, or foundational skills within the context of new learning. You'll hear references to the words accelerate and acceleration throughout this presentation. That's because not only is Accelerate the name of the agency strategy, it's also the cornerstone of an effective approach in addressing unfinished English language arts learning in an equitable way. When we talk about acceleration, we're talking about a type of intervention that is proactive. It is tutoring through extra time. It builds knowledge and skills that students need in order to access upcoming lessons. And it is based on their specific learning needs that's based on data. We want to be clear about what acceleration is not. We're not talking about remediation, which is deficit-based, or teaching skills in isolation, and stuff that's just really not connected to current learning. When we think of this, we think of things teachers did a long time ago where they play catch up at the beginning of the year for a few weeks by using previous grade level content. We know this isn't effective and it's actually detrimental to student learning. This acceleration strategy is also not a replacement for those more intensive intervention that learners might need. While teachers could use the acceleration materials for one type of intervention, it's not the entirety of what may be needed to address students in those individual plans. So this webinar is going to give you a brief overview of the Accelerate ELA guidance and resources. We're going to clearly define the department's purpose of this strategy as it relates to English language arts, and then we'll outline the acceleration approach that is the cornerstone of the provided resources. Finally, we'll take a tour of the Accelerate ELA resources themselves. These resources are currently directly tied to ELA guidebooks for grades 3-12, but they can be used to build student knowledge, vocabulary, or foundational skills within any curriculum. Let's look at our purpose. We believe that every student in Louisiana schools can read, understand, and express understanding of grade-level complex text by ensuring that they have access to on-grade level instruction every day through a high-quality curriculum. It is essential that supports which are provided to students are accessed in a timely manner and directly connected to new learning. To ensure both of these goals, it's necessary for every teacher to be trained in implementation of the high-quality curriculum and to collaboratively plan instruction and supports for students. The backbone of this strategy is rooted in strong evidence on best practices for tutoring and addressing unfinished learning that fall into 3 pillars: intentional structures, high-quality materials, and effective instruction. For maximum impact, these pillars must be implemented in tandem. School leaders control the structures in a system to support and implement any program. To set up a structure for a successful Accelerate program, leaders must ensure equity and access by reserving time in the daily schedule as needed to support high-dosage tutoring. Leaders must also protect core instruction for every student. Scheduling Accelerate must not remove any student from regular English language arts class time. High-quality materials are the bedrock of quality instruction in both regular class time and in tutoring settings. School leaders should ensure that teachers and students have access to and use resources that are directly connected to the high-quality core curriculum to most effectively prepare learning and the student's immediate future. Teachers address unfinished learning by scaffolding content to ensure readiness for every student to access lessons in upcoming weeks and in coordination with the core instruction taught. Effective instructional practices delivered by educators will substantially accelerate knowledge and skills in ELA for students with unfinished learning. Effective instruction is driven by evidence. Educators use timely formative assessments to identify student needs through high-quality curriculum-embedded diagnostic assessments and tasks to identify learning opportunities connected to upcoming lessons. This evidence should be used to flexibly group students by common needs, collected in both regular classroom and tutoring settings, be monitored for progress, and analyzed for real-time student needs. Instruction and tutoring should be provided by effective teachers in the grade and content area they are tutoring. These teachers should have received curriculum training and on-the-job feedback. Let's look closer at the approach in ELA. In English language arts, the Louisiana student standards for each grade level are cyclical in nature, and with text complexity building at each grade level. There's undisputed evidence showing that the key factor in reading comprehension isn't a mastery of strategies, it's how much you know about the topic, background knowledge. So the focus for grades 3 through high school is really centered on building knowledge, vocabulary, and then explicit foundational skills in grades 3-5. The acceleration cycle should be used as a structure of continuous planning and responding to address student needs. The cycle consists of 4 phases: diagnose, plan, deliver, and monitor. To diagnose, administer high-quality curriculum-embedded diagnostics for ELA, high-quality curriculum unit or module pre-assessments, collected student work, or literacy screeners. Data sources should not be limited to multiple choice sources and should include work that is evidence of student thinking and understanding at a moment in time preceding a particular lesson. Then plan. Plan for timing and content of acceleration support. Tutors should review the provided Accelerate resources and make adjustments based on the needs of their individual students. During collaborative planning, discuss when and which students the needed acceleration supports. Analyze data collected from the diagnostics and sample student work to plan tutoring sessions that are tailored to student needs, utilizing the appropriate resources from our ELA acceleration page. During the deliver phase, just-in-time supports designed for alignment with high-quality curriculum are implemented. Qualified tutors should meet with students one-on-one or with small groups who have common needs to deliver the connected just-in-time support, mini lessons and activities that accelerate access by scaffolding to the most immediate, directly connected grade level content that the students are learning in class. To monitor, use daily student work from tasks embedded in the curriculum and student work from the tutoring session. Information gained about student understanding allows teachers to have timely data with which to further diagnose needed potential learning. It is important to note that the cycle will be engaged in repeatedly over short periods of time at the cohort, class, and tutoring group level. The idea of providing just-in-time supports to accelerate access to grade level text isn't new. It is, however, more urgent than ever that we shift our approach to align with this best practice. The following ELA resources are available to support tutoring sessions for English language arts. Tools to support the concept of acceleration as a strategy to address student learning opportunities have been present on the K-12 ELA page for many years. The supports flowchart and the diverse learner guides linked on the slide and also on the K-12 ELA planning page on our website are the kind of just-in-time supports we describe in this webinar. They can be utilized along with student work samples and other data to diagnose areas of unfinished learning and plan for tutoring opportunities. The supports flowchart provides quick access information, guidance, and supports to use with individual or small group of students during regular classroom instruction. The document allows educators to focus on individual needs and make decisions based on student results as they relate to ELA goal of helping students read, understand, and express understanding of complex grade level texts. The new Accelerate ELA resources, which were just released on February 15th, are built to ensure that students are able to access grade level texts. Each grade level includes links to resources that support students in building knowledge, vocabulary, or foundational skills. The initial launch of materials includes 1 unit of teacher and student-facing foundational skill supports for grades 3-5, and 2 teacher and student-facing knowledge packs in grades 3-8, which align to some of ELA guidebooks. The foundational skills materials should be used to work individually with students based on their placement via formative assessment or screener results. The 3-5 foundational supports include separate teacher-facing and student-facing resources, sample monthly plan, student skill checklist, a fluency tracker, a quick check tracker, and the phonics continuum. The knowledge pack materials should be used to build student knowledge and vocabulary ahead of reading complex text from the ELA guidebook unit. Knowledge packs align to the topics and themes in ELA guidebook units or build general knowledge about a topic. Grades 3-12 knowledge packs include separate teacher-facing and student-facing resources, at least 3 related texts per unit, analog and virtual options for implementation, rolling knowledge and sensational 6 journals, and also a final project. At the time of this webinar, 1 unit of teacher and student-facing foundational skill supports for grades 3 and 2 teacher and student-facing knowledge packs in grades 3-8, which align to some ELA guidebook units, have been released. The remaining units will be released on a rolling basis through this spring. Additional resources to support this work will continue to be posted on a rolling schedule beginning this summer. More information is posted on the Accelerate landing page on our website. All right, so now let's take you through an example application using the foundational skills resources and how a tutor, as defined by the Accelerate project document, will work with regular classroom teachers to move through the data cycle. All right, so here's our acceleration cycle, and we're going to start with Diagnose. First, we'll diagnose the need. Tutors working with classroom teachers should identify student placement by administering the student skill checklist. Use the results from the student skill checklist to determine appropriate student supports. When a student is no longer mastering a skill in the student checklist, for example, let's say this student stopped mastering skills around here with consonant blends at the beginning level. Do not move on to the next skill. The skill the student stops at indicates where on the phonics continuum the student should begin. So for this example, like I said, this student was no longer mastering consonant blends. So they'll begin with the consonant blend beginning level on the phonics continuum. Now let's move on to plan and deliver. So for foundational skills, we're going to plan and deliver the tutoring. Tutors should provide foundational skill supports from the Foundation's tutoring guidance. To do this, the tutors will complete the 6-step sequence listed in the daily protocol using the 5-day activities provided for each skill. So when you look in the protocol, step 1 is always going to be a fluency cold read. Step 2 will be a lesson, followed by a target skill practice, and then unit text practice. Step 5 will be fluency, and then step 6 will be that quick check. So this will be the protocol to do every day for the 5-day activities that are going to be provided in the packet, both student-facing and teacher-facing. So after the tutoring is planned and then delivered, let's make sure we monitor. As you're delivering instruction, be sure to monitor for student understanding. And then the teacher and the tutor are going to determine which students need additional support and forward the plan to restart the data cycle. Complete the fluency tracker and the quick check tracker included in the materials daily, and that's going to be how you monitor student growth. After 4 weeks of tutoring, Tutors should re-administer the student skill checklist and then use the results of this checklist to determine the appropriate placement. Again, like we did at the beginning, when a student is no longer mastering a skill in the student skill checklist, teachers shouldn't move on to the next skill. That's going to be the skill where the student stops that indicates where they should be placed on the phonics continuum, and then continue on with the next set of resources. So that's for foundational skills. Let's take a quick tour of an example application using the Knowledge Pack resources and how a tutor, as defined by the Accelerate project document, will work with a classroom teacher to move through the data cycle. Like last time, there's our acceleration cycle. We're going to start with Diagnose. So for this set of resources for the knowledge packs, we're going to actually use a formative assessment from the guidebooks to diagnose this student. So we're going to diagnose the needs. Let's use this formative assessment from high quality curriculum to diagnose student needs around building knowledge and vocabulary. This slide in particular is the Let's Express Our Understanding slide from lesson 4 of the 3rd grade ELA guidebook unit because of Winn-Dixie. So for this example, a tutor is reviewing the reading log of several students prior to tutoring, and after conferring with the student's teacher, the tutor and the classroom teacher concluded that these students need to build more background knowledge on the unit topic, and also needed some work on comparing contrasting character traits and vocabulary to express character thoughts, words, actions, and feelings. So in this case, we used a curriculum-embedded formative assessment, and the tutor worked with the teacher to diagnose students' needs around building knowledge and vocabulary around topics and ideas in Because of Winn-Dixie unit and guidebooks. So keeping with our cycle, we're now going to plan and deliver tutoring to this group of students. So access the knowledge pack material for Because of Winn-Dixie, and to deliver the tutoring, the tutor would decide whether or not they were going to use the analog or virtual option to provide students with the resources from the packet. So there are 2 options. One would be for printing the analog version and paper copies of the packet. One would be used for a digital setting, which the text would be provided to the students digitally. And then the tutor would follow the sample schedule included in the materials to support students in reading the text and then completing both the rolling knowledge journals and the sensational 6 journals for each text. This would be working on putting together the knowledge that they're building from each text and how it relates to text that they're reading in the guidebook unit. And then also building some of that key vocabulary by focusing on 6 vocabulary words. They learn about the characters and character traits by reading through those texts. Then finally, the tutor would support students in brainstorming, planning, and completing the final project that's created with this knowledge pack. To complete our Accelerate process, we do need to keep monitoring. So after monitoring student understanding, whether going through the knowledge pack with the journals and then the final projects, the teacher and the tutor will then determine which students need additional support and forward plan to restart that data cycle. So here we are going back to our high quality curriculum. We're going to continue to use formative assessment data from the high quality curriculum to monitor and diagnose students' needs. This is the Let's Express Our Understanding slide from lesson 9 of the grade 3 ELA guidebook unit Because of Winn-Dixie. So you can imagine these students were given the opportunity to have tutoring time and still continue their core instruction where they're moving through those guidebook lessons. They've completed this knowledge pack with their tutor. They've done all the journaling and the final project. And so now the teacher and the tutor are looking into their reading log and the high quality curriculum. And so they're monitoring the students' reading log responses for knowledge about the unit topic, whether or not the knowledge pack is supporting them and comparing contrasting character traits, and using vocabulary to express character thoughts, actions, and feelings. So now that we've seen the ELA tutoring resources in depth, both the foundational skills and the knowledge packs, you might have some possible questions. You might be asking, my school system uses a curriculum other than ELA guidebooks. How can that help me? So the research and model behind the design here are applicable to other high quality curriculums. So you should investigate the foundational skills progression and the content vocabulary needs of your high quality ELA curriculum with a group of teachers who are experienced in that curriculum and determine when specific tutoring lessons are applicable to your students. These resources could also be used as a template or model for building your own similar tutoring sessions with content from other high quality curricula. You might be asking yourself also, are there other ways to utilize these resources outside of a tutoring session? Honestly, the best practices that are outlined in this Accelerate program are applicable in any scenario. So these resources can be used in any extra ELA time, including morning time, breakouts, small groups, and even after school tutoring sessions. You could also be asking, is it ever a good idea to do a session with the whole class? Honestly, based on interruptions to teaching and learning of the previous year, like this Diagnose cycle could be used for whole class if you feel that they need that support. And then the final question, do I use these resources with the same group of students each week? Honestly, if you think of our cycle, it depends on the individual student need and the information obtained in that Diagnose process. You definitely don't want to do this one time and lock students into a certain type of supports. You do want to keep going through that cycle, and you do want to keep monitoring using the formative assessments in your high quality curriculum to see student needs as they're moving through that curriculum and how their needs change over time. Thank you so much for your time today and walking through the ELA resources for our Accelerate program with me. We're really interested in any feedback and questions that you may have. So please provide feedback on the Accelerate ELA resources by filling out this form. If you have any direct questions that you want to communicate with us, you can please reach out via email using the ELA guidebooks at la.gov inbox. Appreciate your time and looking forward to your feedback, any questions that you may have. Thank you so much.